Crazy.
Who's me?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's honest,
Oh, I wasn't even paying
yeah. You didn't pay attention that we're out here boosting you. I was boosting you up so you'd be ready, you know?
Yeah,
Podcast ready, you know?
Yeah.
You'll be excited.
No,
Nah, but that's for real. That's for real.
you've always been that
For
person.
real, for real.
You've always been that person.
For real. There's a couple people out there like that. So I just get scared.
Oh?
It's another episode of On Your Own. And you know, it's Ade Cares on the MRC. And with me is
Toby.
Toby. What's good, man?
I'm good, man.
Yeah. It's been a crazy week, yeah?
Yeah. Very long week.
A lot of stuff happened as well. Starting from the whole Drake and Pusha T yams. And yesterday, fucking Lakers and Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Is it fun?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was interesting still. That was interesting.
I saw that.
But yeah, this is episode 5 of On Your Own podcast. And as usual, we have a special guest. Her name is Anjola.
Anjola.
I'll let her introduce herself more. I think, you know, that will work. So who do we have here today?
Hi, everyone. My name is Anjola, and I am the founder of Jixx Financial.
Yup, Jixx Financial. Something different.
Jixx Financial. I like I like the name. Jixx Financial. How did you come up with that?
So it's actually Jixx Financial, so Jixx.
Oh, okay.
And it came from my Twitter name, actually.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my Twitter name is Jixx, and I'm not very creative.
Yeah.
So I just needed a name really quickly. Like I was about to launch my website, and I had my friend Egosa who created my website.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to GIC.
Hey,
Dope.
GIC.
Dope.
And he was just like, okay, so what name are we going with? And I was going through online, websites, just trying to find like any cool name. But I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just look through my life and see if there's anything that makes sense that I currently already use, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm on Twitter every day. I just looked at my Twitter handle. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I could use the last 4 letters, the Jixx. And I was like, searched, I think I did it like a quick search to see if there was any other company called Jixx, and I don't think I found any. And so I just decided to go with that.
Yeah,
That's great.
That's bad, though. That's bad.
Great.
Before we go on there, we have an amazing audience today. I would like everyone to introduce themselves. And as the podcast goes, they will have the opportunity to ask questions as well, or open their mind on certain things. So back to Anjola, how's everything going with Jixx Financial?
It's been good so far. Yeah, it's been my second year this year was my second year of filing taxes for clients, and there was some expansion, additional clients that were added.
Great.
And more value. That's my whole proposition, is just to provide value to my clients. So trying to educate them on, the tax preparation process, what you should be looking out for during the year, the spending that you should be tracking, that sort of thing. So
Right.
So yeah, it's been good though.
That's really great. I like the sound of that. I was gonna ask you how you came to the decision to actually start Jixx.
Yeah, like why you like accounting? You see,
I'm guessing that's what you
Yeah.
studied, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. Yeah.
So how did you get to that decision that you wanted to start your own thing?
Well, it kind of started when I was in my 4th year of university.
Okay.
I was doing some work for a startup at the time, so bookkeeping. I would do it on Excel. I studied accounting and I graduated from the business program at Laurier. So I was already in the accounting program. I was working at KPMG at the time. So I had some, some background and some experience with like, audits and record keeping. So I was just doing that for a client in my 4th year of university.
Yeah.
And I did it for 2 years. Even I started working full time, I was still doing the bookkeeping for the company. So I would prepare the financial statements, and I would work with the auditors to make sure that they file their statements each year. So preparing shred is it's a credit that you get back for spending on innovation. And so I would do things like that, and I don't know, I just decided. I worked in tax in the tax department at Deloitte for a couple of weeks, and so I got some tax experience, and so I decided to just add tax preparation to the bookkeeping that I was already doing for the client that I had, which was on the side. I was just doing it.
And it only took you a week.
No, I mean, I worked in tax for a couple of weeks, and I also took tax in school. It's not very.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Are you sure it's not rocket science?
It's honestly not. So
Yeah, some people disagree with you.
You know what? It's very methodological. Methodological, right?
Yeah, methodological. Yeah, we could go with that one still for sure. We'll manage that one.
They're as long as you follow the rules and you're aware of what credits that you're allowed to claim.
Yeah.
You're just trying to maximize your return or minimize your tax payable, right? So you just have to make sure that you're taking advantage of all those things, and it's really all about informing your clients of what possible credits that they could be eligible for, right? So you have to talk to them and figure out what's going on in their lives. And then that way you can sort of recommend, or you can decide what, credits you're going to apply. To their tax return. So for me, it was, I don't know, I was also in Waterloo, and I was kind of just not doing anything after work. So it's like, I could keep myself busy by just doing this. And so I just added tax to the business. It wasn't even a business at the time. It didn't have a name. I just decided to put a name just to make it easier for people to identify me.
And you have 94,000 refunds.
Well, over 100,000.
Yeah.
Over 100,000 right now.
Yeah.
In 2 years.
Yeah. Well, just the past year actually.
Oh, okay.
In refunds, so that would just be like once I file taxes, then I would say this is your refund.
So how many clients do you have right now?
I have about 40 clients.
God damn.
Damn.
So what would be your biggest one?
Well, I have bookkeeping clients, and I also have, tax clients. So the bookkeeping clients obviously have bigger revenues because you're doing it on a recurring basis versus tax, you just do it once a year. So in terms of revenues, you'd say that, but for tax clients, it's usually people that have more complex returns. So like I would charge based on the complexity of your return. So if it's like, if you have like so many activities going on, you're buying a house, you have capital gains, that sort of thing, then obviously you'd have to pay a higher rate than someone who's just a student and only has rent and,
so you're
tuition.
very, very flexible.
Also, students in Canada can actually like get tax off for their fees.
Yeah, you can. That's honestly the main benefit of filing your taxes. Yeah, like when you're a student, you can actually get money back from the government each month. In the form of, if you pay rent, for example, if you're paying rent, you can get the Ontario Trillium benefit. And also if, you're just a taxpayer, you're a resident of Canada, you can get something called the GST rebate, that you get that every 3 months. And so if you file your taxes each year, then you get a check or you get a direct deposit to your bank account. So
we filed though. We want this guy, both are filing taxes out there. Those
It's very important, man. Like,
Yeah.
and then obviously your tax refunds from tuition as well. You get that back when you start working and earning an income and paying tax to the government. You get that money back. So it's very important. If you're in school, don't think that you shouldn't not be filing your taxes. You should.
Yeah. So if you want to file your taxes now, for people that don't know, what documents would you need to come with?
Well, it's very simple. I make it as simple as possible.
That's nice.
I like to, just work remotely.
Right.
I like the idea of me being in like a foreign country and just being on my laptop still working and not having to stop my service just because I'm not physically in the country.
Yeah.
So I do everything online. You just have to go to my website, download a checklist, you fill it out, and then you submit. It asks you. Yeah, it asks you. So if you answer yes, to a question, then they would say you should provide that form. And then you submit it. I get the notification. Then if I have questions, I would email or call you, whatever you prefer. And so it's pretty simple. Pretty straightforward.
So that's what allows you to travel this much, eh?
That's actually very good.
That's on my curiosity.
Okay, so now let's talk about before Jixx Financial. What was your mentality right in school before you started? Like, did you think Jixx was gonna be a thing, or like were you just going on with life and it set up? How was the story? How did it start? When did the idea come to play?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know I was gonna start this at all. It just sort of happened, as I said. The opportunity just provided itself, and I decided to take advantage of it. Like when I was in school, I was in accounting and I was in co-op, so I was, I was already getting the experience that I needed, right? So the opportunity presented itself, and it was either that I didn't take it or I took it and just kept myself busy and provided more opportunity for myself. And so far, it's been pretty rewarding.
So you have 2 years in right now, and what can you say from the first day you started and now? What's the?
Well, it's actually been like more than 2 years. It's been 4 years if you
really.
Well, because I started in university when it was my 4th year.
Right.
But like I didn't put a name on it until I just added the tax thing, right? So. It's sort of been going on for 4 years, but I really didn't, name it until 2 years. I added the tax, which was, I added personal tax first of all, actually, and then one of my personal tax clients wanted some business tax, and so I added business tax. So it's like it's sort of just been growing organically with, just based on the demands and based on the needs. So I would just say that would be, the biggest growth factor. And just, I didn't see myself really doing a lot of the services that I am. But so far so good. It's been a huge learning opportunity. I'm constantly doing research and, making sure that I'm providing the best value that I can possibly give.
Yeah.
So I would say that, just learning a lot has been like the biggest thing.
So what is the idea for Jixx? Where are you trying to take that to?
Yeah,
Are you still just freestyling, trying to figure out where she's gonna go?
Well, I like just providing value for people. Like one of the main reasons I wanted to really do this is just to like teach people, the importance of filing your taxes, like how much you can actually get back, to educate people really. So I guess it was my way of giving back in a way.
Okay. You're all about giving back.
Yeah, I mean, I charge pretty decent rates, and I think I give you like more than what you like. Give you more, like exactly more than what you expect. Like if you go to a tax preparation business, for example, they wouldn't necessarily explain like the start to finish. I go through the entire return with you, and I'm like, okay, this is what you did. This is what you should maybe be doing next year to reduce your tax payable, that sort of thing. So it really just is a way of benefiting you. So I'd like to just keep doing that, and we'll see how it goes.
So when you from point of view meeting the client to the end of the process, you do that alone?
Yes. Yeah.
No. You started all of this. you started all of this on your own. Were there any obstacles or any things that you had to give up in order to face this business squarely?
Well, one of the challenges was probably just setting up the website.
Okay.
And so I didn't have any background with websites. I don't know how to code.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'm like, maybe I should learn how to code. But yeah, just setting up the website. So I had to rely on an external party to do that. Like I like to do it a lot on my own. Like I feel like I can figure it out eventually. So I was down to do it, but just the time commitment wasn't worth it. So luckily I had a friend of mine that had started a hosting company in GSE, and so he decided to give me a 1 year free. Since I was a new business, he gave me a 1 year free streaming or hosting service, whatever they call it. And so I was able to. He set up the website for me, and we had different calls, went through my design, what I wanted to get out of it, and everything. And so he helped me set that up, and I just had to figure out how the best way to limit the interaction. Well, not to limit the interaction, but to make it as efficient as possible. So I don't want people to be asking me the same questions over and over
again.
If I can direct them to something. So I was like, okay, what would be the most frequently asked questions, that sort of thing. What do I have to put on my tax checklist for them not to be back and forth between? So I had to make sure all the whatever the tax prep needs was all reflected in my tax checklist, And so it just made everything very smooth. So you don't want, people would just get dissatisfied as well. If, you're constantly asking them for information that they thought they would get it over with. Yeah. So I'm just like, this is like 3 steps, very easy. Like it's all on you and it's all digital. Everyone is in a digital economy. You can take a picture of your form and send it in, and that's fine. So, I always try to think of, the obstacles that I would encounter, and then I would try and think ahead and try and make the impact as not as, I guess, painful as possible. And then recently I started sending newsletters to my clients and just giving them tips.
So you're going into email marketing now?
Well, yeah, that was tough to figure out. I had to use, I don't even understand. I still don't, I feel like I use a very basic, but it gets the message across. I have a very dry sense of humor, so I try and incorporate that to my...
That is so funny.
It's pretty bad.
So now, you're literally making use of technology right now because accounting itself is dying.
Yeah, well...
because of all these applications that are out there right now.
I would say the record keeping, the daily... That is probably maybe potentially going to be a dying industry because you can have automation, which would do a lot of, as long as you have some sort of set formulas and they can arrange transactions for you. But you still need the human element to make daily decisions. You still need someone to summarize the information and be able to conclude, based on what you have, right? So you still need that human element, I think. And some people don't trust computers. It's still
not just yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
completely.
Yeah, because you don't know who's behind the back, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, if it's all supposed to be, smart and have that technology to do it for you, then I guess you can trust it. But not. I don't know if you fully trust it. I'd still make sure and cross-check. So maybe you just need accountants for that cross-checking, right? So because there's so many rules, right? Sure, you have the debits and credits. Those are normal transactions that you can have an automated system do that for you. But there's still complex accounting rules. So complex revenue recognition treatments. Sometimes you don't know when you're supposed to record revenue as actually earned, or there's just different. It's more than just what you see on the surface, right?
So for sure, you still got to need one person to operate the system.
You still need that human element to make all those complex decisions.
Right. Okay.
Maybe in the future there might be but
Smarter robots.
Yeah, smarter robots, but
AI.
maybe you can put different variables and it can spit out like the journal entry that you should be recording.
Yeah.
Potentially, yes, but well, let's
Good
just
luck
hope.
with that.
Yeah, let's just hope that's
No,
still like
can
sometime.
you briefly explain the whole CPA and CFA process
Okay, so
and what the exam is about and all that? Because I actually don't.
yeah, so
Okay, so wait, that's to become like
Yeah, to become an accountant, right?
to become a chartered professional accountant.
You have to have that. Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, so it would be the CPA process, and well, it changed recently. I don't know if you know that, but it actually changed the year that I wrote. So
Okay.
I'm not gonna explain the previous process, but typically you would, go to school, and you might or might not specialize in accounting. Actually, if you do, then it's helpful because you have the background knowledge. If you don't, you can still take. It's called modules. I went to Laurier, and we were able to, because we have this program. You just do one more semester of school after you graduate, and then you get to skip like the first two, the modules basically. You don't have to challenge because the modules are all. You basically take like an online course, I believe. I didn't do the modules, but you take these online courses and you take an exam at the end of the modules and you have to pass each module. But then I went to Laurier and so I was able to skip writing those modules and challenging those exams. And so I just went through capstone 1, 2, and then the CFE. Yes, the CFE. So capstone 1 is basically like a group project. So they changed the exams. Before it wasn't like this, but they merged all the 3 designations into one. So CMA, CGA, and CA was merged into CPA. So they changed the entire exam process as well. I don't know if I'm going too deep.
No. Trust me, the fans.
There are probably people that listen to
So anyways,
podcasts that know what you're talking about.
Basically, you write the first one is you have like a group project and you work in groups and have like cases and you have to present and basically you pass that. If you pass that, you go on to the second module, second capstone, which is basically like a class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just write cases and you get that's marked. It's pretty chill.
So now, we've had a whole lot of
that's pretty good. Thank you.
That was informative. Very, very informative situation. So now I want you to talk about the feeling of having your 9 to 5 and also trying to start something on your own. Because eventually the plan is to stop your 9 to 5 and be able to do this full time, no?
Well, it could be, yes.
It could be, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So what are the struggles you go to when this happens?
Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty lucky. I feel like my situation is very unique because I happen to work in a job that is flexible and I'm able to, if I have a meeting, for example, with a client, I can make that meeting during the work week, and I just have to I just make up the hours another time, or it's just pretty flexible.
So
that
very
I'm
flexible
able to
with
exactly. So I'm still able to grow my practice, and still have my 9 to 5.
This is what's going to happen.
All right, Abiu.
I almost said it.
That was dope.
That's nice.
So why accounting? Why did you choose that?
I don't know, man. Like accounting is it's just been always what I liked. It's rules based. I like having a set of rules and not just. I don't like, when things are just not. Yeah, I don't like things that are rigid. But I also don't like things that are too flexible that you really don't know where you stand. So I like knowing when I'm correct, and I know if my balance sheet balances, then I know I'm okay. And you also have to make sure that you're making the right decisions on how you're handling transactions as well. But that's also, it's part of just analyzing things and using information. And so I just like that. My dad was a CA, so maybe that's where I got the inspiration as well. So it was. I've always just done accounting since high school in Nigeria. So
So where do you plan on taking Jixx financial?
Well, you know what? I am hoping that I continue to provide more value to my clients, and I'm looking for more opportunity to help people and
I get paid for it.
yeah, I get paid for it for sure.
So how much do you charge?
So it depends on the complexity of your returns, really, but you know, a base is typically for students like it would be like $25.
Okay.
And then
Per year.
yes, exactly. Yes, I should have clarified that. Yeah, per year. Per year returns.
Damn.
So if you're doing like, if you haven't filed for like all the years you're in school, then it would be 25 per year.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, it's very competitive compared to, you know, like, you know, the bigger companies that are out there. So
how much do you charge?
do they charge?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, to be honest, but I think around like 50s, maybe like hundreds, 50 to 100. It really depends on how complex it is as well. So theirs is based on a formula as well. So I think they have a base rate and then they keep adding based on that. So that's kind of how I modeled mine.
How do you get majority of your clients?
Word of mouth. Yeah, I really don't do that much for advertising. This is awesome though. This is a great advertising platform. But it's usually word of mouth. When I was, you know, at Laurier, I would just go to like the African Association and speak to the students there, and you know, Twitter and Instagram, social media.
What's the average? What's the average you get back for each client?
Sorry?
What's the average amount you get back for each client?
Average amount. Oh, well, it depends, right? Because each taxpayer is different, right?
So how many do you get? So do you get like students a lot, or like do you get like businesses or?
Oh, right. In terms of that, so mostly students.
Okay.
Students and young professionals.
Okay.
Yeah, young professionals and students. I have a few families, so dual income. It's pretty fun doing those because you're trying to look for the best way. They have kids too, so you're trying to look for the best way to like increase their refund. So I always do different scenarios. If you claim this is what you get.
So apparently someone from the crowd's got a question. Godfrey, what do you have?
Hi. My name is Godfrey. I've been doing finance for a little bit. In regards to your taxes that you were talking about, I have a more complex question when it comes to business taxes and personal taxes. Most people, when they file their taxes, they make an error, and the refunds they get is not like what they expect to get. Do you do reversal taxes? Like if I go to Money Mart and I file my taxes and I get like 750, but I feel that I have been cheated, Money Mart didn't do the right job, and I come to Jixx Financial now, how much would I get? Could you do like a reversal?
Well, depends. If you filed the taxes, then I would look through your work, the work that was done, and make sure that it was done properly. Like I had a client that had the same, concern this year. She came from a private company, and then she thought, that what she was paying was too much. She came to me and I redid everything, and I found out it was actually correct. The thing is that the tax preparer hadn't explained it to her, so she didn't understand what was going on.
Right.
So I was just like, the reason that you're paying so much is because you're a self-employed individual and you're supposed to remit CPP and EI each month, right? But she wasn't remitting any of that, so that was basically the bulk of what she had to pay. But it's just a simple matter of explaining the process, and then you might just be able to clear that up, right? So yeah, like my process would just be like going through and making sure that we're claiming all the credits for you and that you actually understand what you're paying in the end.
Okay, thank you. And how much do you charge for business tax?
Depends.
It depends, like a T4A, someone who's self-employed. There is a financial advisor that does life insurance, mortgages. You're not necessarily a business,
right?
But you get a T4A because when you get paid in commission, they don't take out the tax. You still need to pay your CPP, like you mentioned. So in that kind of sense, how much would that be to file a tax?
let's talk about this.
Let's not listen information here, please. Be very careful. Baba just went too deep right now. CPP and CPPA. That's too much now. Please, you have to call Jixx Financial for such information.
No, I just don't want to say price and then
This has to be personal.
Yeah, bro. Like, how do you mean just ask that kind of question out here right now? You just tell me what's crazy right now, bro. So wait, so for people who have questions like that, where can they reach you on? Please just let them
my
know.
website the 3 W's jixxfinancial.com.
Jixx.
Yeah, jixxfinancial.com.
Okay.
Okay, we'll say that again. She said 3 W's. That is
Jixx.
financial.com.
Yeah.
If you have solid questions like that, that's where to go.
Yeah. We have someone else that has a question. Harshi.
So my question is, like I went to H&R Block last year, and I filed taxes for my school fees. I didn't know that I'm not supposed to. So they told me that I can never get school fees taxes back. That's what they have been telling me. They told me last year as well. They're like, you're an international student, only citizens get taxes on their school fees. So I'm not sure why. Even I went to a lawyer and he took money from me, but he never got my taxes back. Like he charged me $200.
That's why I try to do it for international students, because you get misinformed. Like if you're the one that's paying your tuition, then you do have the right to claim your credits. But when you file, it's like basically what happens when how you get money back is that you don't just get money back just by doing nothing. You actually have to work and earn an income.
Yeah.
So each time you get a paycheck, you have your gross income and you have your net income. And then the difference would be the taxes that you pay. If at the end of the year, the total taxes that you've paid, for example, is like $5,000, that's how much was deducted from your income. And then you do your taxes and you find out that you had tuition credits because you've been in school. Mm-hmm. You can then apply those tuition credits against the amount of taxes that you've paid. And if your credits, surpass how much tax you paid, then you get all the tax back.
Yeah, because the thing is...
So as long as you have those credits, as long as you didn't transfer it to someone, because there's also, the possibility of transferring it to a spouse or to a parent. But I'm guessing if you're an international student, your parents are not even here.
Yeah.
So when you're in school, that's why it's important to file your taxes when you're in school.
Right.
Because you claim those credits each year, and it doesn't expire. Like it's actually recently they canceled the provincial tuition credits for Ontario, yeah.
So you're not going to be getting taxes back?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you had already, it's fine. But starting from last year, September, I believe.
No way.
They canceled it, so you can't.
No taxes.
Only at federal level you can.
Only like you work and you get your taxes back. So your school fees, you're literally not getting anything. Not even credits.
Not the provincial level.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So really sad.
So yeah, it's unfortunate, but in other provinces you can still get it. But I'm guessing it's some sort of.
We paid so much fees.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, if you had paid previously before that due date, you're still fine. You still have it.
So
it never expires.
You have it started
indefinitely. It's the kids that started last year that don't get it exactly.
Oh, okay.
So as long as you had paid your fees, then you still exactly. Then you
because I don't know. I went to them and they're like, "Oh, you're not going to be getting taxes back." So I'm like, "Why?" Because I read online and it says school fees you're going to be getting something out of it. So they're like, "No,
you've worked though, right?
Yeah, I worked. Yeah."
Okay.
I did get taxes back for federal or GST,
but not for the refunds?
No,
that's weird.
Probably they're just trying to misinform me.
Maybe you didn't also. So each time you file your taxes, they might audit you, and you have to respond to those audit requests. Otherwise, they cancel your credits.
Right.
And so if you don't respond, then they cancel your credits, and they say you should pay it back if they've paid you something. So you have to make sure that you respond to all the requirements.
So just so you know, there's been a couple changes. We played that so you can hear that again. We've got another question. Eddie Raw has a question. Please, let's take this in.
So I know we talked about the past and the present of your journey. So what's the future looking like? Where is there look for expansion for Jixx Financial?
And if there's a room for expansion, like how do we then get involved and support so that the Black business stay alive?
Right. That's a big question. That's a big question. That's a big question.
Yeah, that's a huge question. You know what? Like, I haven't even thought of like hiring anyone. Like, I feel like if it gets to that point where activity is too much that I need to hire, then I will hire. It just hasn't reached that point. I still feel like I can still handle all the amount of work, and I also like the control. Well, I just like knowing that it's my liability and it's all on me, so I have to make sure that it's done well, right? So I like that, having that control. But if it does come to that, then I will expand. And
So instead of how do you get the picture? How do you get the picture from what it is right now to becoming a nationwide? Not just now, because like at the end of the day, at this point there's no point starting something if it's just gonna get to a one store situation. Like I would like to believe you're thinking empire.
Oh, you're thinking H&R. How do we get there?
To be very honest, when I started this, it was more so as I said, it was to help people. That was really what the motivation was. I didn't realize that there were so many people to help,
Right.
So now that I realize that it has the potential of becoming bigger and, potential to be a virtual service that, I could hire people and they could work on it wherever they want.
Yeah.
And, maybe I'm just like the final reviewer, right? It's sort of weird thinking about that. But I am not thinking of stopping anytime soon, so we'll see how things go.
Yeah.
That's the best I can give.
That's fair still. That's fair. We take that.
And also, what keeps you going? I know you've probably faced a lot of challenges. You've probably had a lot of success in like this business, but what keeps you going on a daily basis? What keeps that drive and that fire in you
Burning. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
You want to keep doing this.
Yeah, it's honestly the feedback that I get from clients, and just you know that you're doing something well if they're constantly they're happy with their service. They're getting money back. Like, who doesn't want to get money back? Who doesn't want to reduce the amount of taxes that they're paying, right?
Yeah.
And also just they feel like they're valued more because they can call me, and they always message me when they receive an email from like CRA. What am I supposed to do with this? I don't understand this jargon. I'm able to like understand that information, so it's like I'm able to provide a lot of value, and that's a motivation for me.
Okay.
So to our audience that want to use you as motivation to get up and do what they want to do, what would you say to them in terms of like on those harder days and those harder nights that you feel like walking away?
Or just stopping everything. Just giving up on everything.
And going back to working for the big giants and all of that.
Yeah.
What keeps you like humble, grounded to what you're doing?
I'm just a very motivated person in general, and I don't really like to take L's, I guess.
Yeah.
So I just keep pushing myself, and I'm fortunate enough to have like a very good network. Somehow I'm able to still, expand without really, having to necessarily pay for advertising, that sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
I'm lucky, I guess. So far, so good.
You go good networking, like you said. That's
it's not as if it's all luck too. It's sort of what I've built over the past couple of years, like through my network in school, at work, elsewhere. So it's just been like a combination of different factors, right? So I'm just gonna keep working hard. That's one of the most important things for me, and trying to give back, because I feel like if you give back, it comes back to you, right?
So you believe in karma?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So another person's got a question to ask. Jim and Godfrey.
Yes,
The question I have is in regards to leasing and financing of cars. Clients, yes, because as I said, I'm in finance. I run a small company called Plan Simple. What we do is financial advice for people, life insurance and all that. So these are questions my clients ask me. I don't do taxes. I'm not a chartered financial analyst or a CPA. I'm just a financial advisor.
Right.
I understand.
Okay.
An insurance company. So these are questions they ask me. So how would you address that to clients who even people who just have like regular full-time jobs and they want to get a new car? Would you tell them in regards to their income size they should lease, or in regards to their income size they should finance? How does that work?
Yo, that's a very good question. I don't think I can actually answer that.
Whoa! No, you have to give us something because I feel that question is bad because like everyone that comes out of university, right? They try to do it themselves. They go to first. They've just got the job a new job.
Just in terms of economics, like cars typically depreciate, right? They don't appreciate in value. Like once it's out of the lot, it's like 30% of the value is gone. Right? So for me, when I came out of university, I knew eventually I would be moving here. So there's a lot of different factors that I consider. I knew I would want to eventually move to Toronto, right? And in Toronto, I knew I wouldn't necessarily need a car. And so I decided to lease a car. I was able to get very, very amazing rates. A short-term lease, like a year. I don't even know how I got the rates I got, but I went over the KM and I wasn't even penalized for it. But it was just a very fortunate situation for me. So I leased my car just knowing that I didn't want to pay the huge commitment, knowing that I would have to sell it and lose money anyways. So I decided to lease the car and come here. When I came here, it was this was bestowed upon me, I guess, because my sister had already bought a car previously, and we're living together, and so we share her car, and so I still have access to a car, but I never had to like pay off the 20K or whatever it would cost to buy the car.
So in regards to taxes for that year, how did it affect your taxes? That's the question I asked.
Exactly.
Because I'm interested in the taxes because I have clients day to day that ask me these questions, and I'm like, okay, what will happen is I'll send you over to H&R Block. They'll be able to answer.
But like, are you using?
But now I've met you, right?
The better question is like what would be better in terms
Well, the
of
thing is, are you like using your car for work?
No, in regards to your situation, how did it help you? You list the car for a.
So I was getting money. I was using my car for work, yes, like personally and also for work. But then I also got benefits from work in the sense that I got a car allowance. So for each kilometer that I would drive, I would get 55 cents back. So I couldn't claim any of the expenses from my car for my taxes because I was already getting a benefit from work. So in the end, it didn't like
necessarily help.
It didn't really impact anything because I wasn't, unless like you're doing your own personal side business and you're driving your car for work, and then you're claiming. Sorry?
Typical example, Uber driver. If I'm an Uber
exactly,
driver,
an Uber driver.
Should I lease my car or should I, in regards to my taxes, when I'm filing my taxes at the end of the year as an Uber driver, what would you say should I do? Should I lease my car or should I finance my car?
Okay, big question.
It's a big question. See, I don't want to give you an answer now because I feel like I should do some research before I give you an answer, right?
Okay, what about regular people?
But like it would be giving you a very misinformed answer if I respond right now.
Saying. Yes. Yeah.
Like I would know the answer once I did the financial analysis behind, what's the cost impact of leasing versus financing, right?
Right.
And then I can tell you the answer, but right now I can't say one because it would be a guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're trying to get my guess on the fucking line, eh? Oh, you came out strong still.
And also, another question is, how is the industry's environment suited for a woman?
Do you mean in accounting?
Yeah.
So starting up your own business right now as a woman in today's day, how is it like? What's the pressures you go through?
Starting up my own business. For me, personally, I have built, as said previously, I've built a network of of people already know who I am, and there's been that sort of trust that has been established. So as long as you sort of maintain that personal relationship and that commitment, that integrity. So that's what we're having this conversation earlier about how people perceive you. Like if you're the president of the United States, for example, it's kind of how you behave on a day-to-day basis. People will perceive you a certain way. So it's sort of, you have to build that trust with your client base. And for me, that's what I sort of did. I didn't really have to win, their trust, because I have shown them in countless times that I can provide the service that they're requesting for. So I didn't see it much more as a challenge to overcome. I saw the opportunity and I took it, really. Outside of just like my own personal business, I do think that there is a challenge for women in the workplace. Sort of just have to make your voice heard, and not just sit in the background and take it. Like, you have to do something at least. That's what I tried to do when I was in the corporate world. So I would try and you have to do more, I think.
Do you prefer the 9-to-5 structure?
No, I'm actually very insecure right now, because I'm working. My 9-to-5 is I'm working for a startup right now, right? So, I've taken like a huge responsibility of managing. I'm the financial controller of the startup, and so it's a huge responsibility, and it's a business that is not established. We're still growing, right? So. I believe a lot in that business as well, as much as I do with Jixx, really. So I feel like I see myself growing in both. Yeah.
That's
and I feel like what I learned from that business is actually going to help me with Jixx, because it was that business that made me start Jixx. I learned, the basics of, the bookkeeping and financial reporting, how to like interact with auditors, and I mean, I've been in audit myself as well, but just providing that, being on the opposite side of that value service, that service role. And so I've learned a lot, and I'm bringing what I'm learning from my company into my business as well. So I think it's honestly a very symbiotic relationship that I'm benefiting from both.
It's a learning process though, at the end of the day.
For sure.
That's great. So anybody got more questions for our special guest? Okay, Shaq's got a big question for you.
Oh no, it's not big, it's small. Have you been asked by your friends to do their taxes for free?
Yes.
Do you
I
do them for free?
refuse, no.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. No, because honestly,
To be honest, they actually, a lot of them value the service that I provide. They would ask for a discount, and I would be happy to give them like a small discount. But I think nowadays people respect, that people are trying to hustle. And so they wouldn't even ask to for free. So they're just respectful of that.
Or maybe you're just in the right circle.
Yeah.
There's some people that might take advantage of their friends and like want things for free. So that's like, especially because it's your own business. I was like, I wonder if like she's people that are like, yo, can you do my taxes for free?
Right. Is that industry though? It is that industry.
But
I'm saying for individuals,
more so, there's actually
right?
a challenge, a bigger challenge, in that some people just don't want to be as open with their information, right? Their personal.
Right?
That's
okay.
So that would be a challenge.
Okay, that's a good point.
That's a deep one still. Like,
so I know. So I don't even try and push
Yeah.
it on my friends that much, because you don't want. Sometimes you don't want to be that person, right?
Yeah.
So you're not in the closet like that. Damn. Well, that's great, though. Yo, Anjola, you're giving us some great information about Jixx and everything, about accounting in a whole, and how technology is taking over everything. And you're talking about how like you pretty much do everything on your own, from like you getting the clients to filing the taxes to them getting the money and giving you feedback from that. And looking at your website, you got like over 94,000, over 100 refunds. My bad, over 100,000 refunds. What's that feeling like?
It feels great, man.
Like when you started, you probably didn't
you have
imagine
no
it.
idea. There was one of my clients. she hadn't gotten money back at all from her tuition. It had been 5 years since she'd been working. She'd never filed her taxes at all.
Yeah.
She didn't know there was such a thing as tuition credits.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there was also all this money sitting in a trust in Canada's government.
Yeah.
And she didn't know she could access it. So honestly, that makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even get any of that money. I'm like, oh my God, she's getting all that money. I'm not getting any of it. Like, it's just like, it makes me feel good. At least she's getting what she paid for, you know? You know, like she did like a master's and an undergrad. So imagine all that money just,
Goddamn.
you know, so like just making, I just want to
Stacks.
honestly,
But that's
awareness.
but those are stacks. That's not bag though. Those are stacks. They're not bag.
Yeah.
You just gonna get it back.
I should come to you next year. Will you help me file my taxes?
Hey, trust me.
www.jixxfinancial.com.
Yeah, man. Trust me. To get your taxes done, you know where to go. When is tax season though?
Yeah, that's the website.
Yeah, I've been
So
on.
taxes
Oh,
are
you've been on
due
your
for
own?
individuals
Great.
April 30th.
April 30th, man. You guys don't fuck around,
And
man.
then
They'll come for your
businesses,
ass. They will come for your ass like glue. So be very careful.
Yes, sir.
Jixx Financial, that's where they do it at.
Thank you for having me, guys. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So yeah, follow on your own on Instagram, on your own double N at the end, on your own studios, keeping it live. It was me and Toby Mo today. I'm just gonna keep rocking every single time.
I want to give a big shout out to everyone that we have in the studio: Shaq, Eddie, King Godfrey, Ozzy, and Harshi.
Yeah, man.
Thank
Big
you
up
guys
guys,
for coming
man.
in. Thank you.
Now we getting a crowd.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify.
We on the 18.
We're about to get on Tidal.
Very
Yeah,
soon.
I sent you that stuff. You didn't check it out.
Fam, get on title first.
We have to get on Tidal. I'm all for Tidal.
Yeah, no doubt.
We have to get on Tidal. Yeah.
Alright, man. See you guys next week. Peace out.
Bye.